Hello, Kyle here, Lake Vermilion Houseboats, doing our orientation video for our 55-foot Catalina. First thing we do underneath these motor covers is our outboards. This houseboat has twin outboards, so our staff will trim the outboards up, and we like to have our guests take pictures of the prop and lower unit before their trip. That's the first thing we do during the walkthrough orientation. So we'll trim the outboards up, take pictures, we'll put everything back down. Next thing we go over is our generator. So the generator on the boat, basically the cord needs to be plugged into the generator. How our power system works in our houseboats is anytime you're using an outlet inside the cabin. So coffee maker, microwave, TV, charging a cell phone, generator has to run. That's what powers the outlets. Also, when the generator is running, it's charging our deep cycle batteries. So our deep cycle batteries power our overhead lights. They power the water pressure pump. They also power the thermostat on the refrigerator. So to basically keep your houseboat in good working condition, basically working lights, running water, working refrigerator, we need to run the generator a minimum of 3 hours a day continuously. You can run it longer if you'd like, but that's the minimum amount we want our guests to operate or run the generator for, so that those deep cycle batteries stay charged up. So you basically have working lights, running water, and a working fridge for the entirety of your stay. Basically, also on the back deck here, there will be a couple of jugs of gas to fill the generator during your stay. Also on the back deck here is our propane tanks. So inside this cover here are our propane tanks. The main use of the propane tanks are our heaters inside the cabin. So if you are here during our cooler weather seasons and you are using your heaters consistently, you do need to keep tabs on your propane tanks. We can bring more out during your stay. We don't want you running out of propane if you're trying to use your heaters. The other uses of the propane are the water heater, stovetop, and oven. Also, the condensers on the fridge use the heaters. But you always leave with the tanks topped off. If you're not using your heaters, you don't need to worry about them. But if you are using your heaters, again, please keep tabs on your propane tanks. And then on the back deck here, we have there's a fiberglass box that has our life jackets and stuff in it. Usually a cooler here on the back deck, and then a garbage barrel. And now we'll go up to the top deck. All right, here we are on the top deck of our 55-foot Catalina. So up on the top deck, we do have the top steering up here on the top deck. So we always start the outboards down at the main helm. I'll go over that later in this video. Basically, if you're coming up here, the motors are already started. You would simply come up here. Want to make sure that the shifters are in neutral. So that's neutral. That would be forward. This would be reverse. So again, make sure the shifters are in neutral. You'll press this button right here to gain control of the shifter. Again, motors are already running. You walk up here, neutral, hit the button, you'll gain control up here. And that's when you can drive from up here. We only want you driving up from the top helm in the wide open spaces. We don't want trying to navigate through tight areas or trying to moor up here. You don't have the GPS up here. So again, this is just kind of wide open lake. We're up enjoying the lake for the day. So now we'll go down inside the cabin. All right, we're just walking inside the back area of our 55-foot Catalina. So first thing we're going over is if you are here again during our colder seasons, we always want to go over how to run the heaters. So with this heater here, you're going to press this button in. While you're pressing this in, there's a little striker here on the left side. You hit the striker. You're going to get a little flame here down on the lower left-hand corner of the heater. You hold this in until you get a little flare-up on the heating mat here. Once you get that flare-up, the thing that kind of confuses people with these heaters is it does not have a standing pilot. So when I release, the pilot light goes out. You can turn the heater to low, medium, or high. And basically the main thing when you know if it's on is you just hold your hand down here. And if you're feeling heat, you know the heater's on, okay? You don't want to walk away until you confirm that the heater's on. So make sure it's on. It's safe to walk away. And then when you want to turn the unit off, just turn it back to the off position. Next thing we'll go over is we always test the carbon monoxide and smoke alarm as we walk through the cabin here. Oh, it's beeping at me. So next thing we go over is the bathroom. So main thing we just show our guests here is how to operate the toilet inside the bathroom here. So this is one of our new toilets that we have here in our fleet. there is basically the new style toilets, the basin does not fill up with water. Some of our older toilets, you could fill the basin up with water if you're taking a number 2, but this one has one function. It's basically open the valve, which is down here. The valve opens and you get water flow and everything goes down into the septic holding tank. So again, on our new toilets, the toilet basin does not fill up with water. It just open the valve, everything goes down. Also inside the bathroom here is you're going to have toilet paper and stuff. Also, there'll be some deodorizers here for the septic tank if your septic starts stinking. So, but now we'll walk through the kitchen area of the houseboat. So we also like to go over the sinks on our houseboat. So all the water that we pump out of for our faucets, so kitchen sink, and bathroom shower is lake water. So do not drink it. They're labeled. We do supply gallon jugs of fresh water, and just make sure that you feel that you have enough. We feel we always put in plenty for our guests, but some guests use more than others. So just confirm that you have enough water before you leave for your trip. We can also bring more out on our service runs. Next thing I like to go over is I got to go behind Joy here. She got to kind of spin around. So this panel here would be our 110 panel. So we just need to make sure that all these switches stay on. We like to have our guests, especially on this boat, there's a lot of switches. We like to have our guests take pictures of this panel before they leave. So it's very easily bumped if you're walking by here in the hallway. And then if you start turning these things off, like the outlets will stop working, different stuff. So again, keep whatever is labeled, keep on. And then it's just a good idea to take a picture before your trip. Here on the kitchen table is a binder. So in the binder, there's also a bunch of useful information. So we have our fishing regulations, an introduction to Lake Vermilion houseboats, kind of some activities, food and stuff on the lake. We also have a lot of information on our mooring sites. So this is very useful. So please, when you have time during your stay, please read through this. Here on the freezers are kind of our bullet points of our houseboat fleet. So this is very important to read this and become familiar with it. Also here on the fridge is an inventory list of basically what dishware and cookware on the houseboat. So if you think you're missing something, look on here. If it's labeled, if it's on here, it's going to be in your houseboat. You just got to kind of dig for it. So another thing we like to go over with our fridges is as long as the check light is not on, the fridge is working 100%. We do have issues during our warmer months where the guests will come in. They bring, if they're here for a week, they bring a week's worth of food and they literally just stuff everything they can inside this refrigerator. So we do not want to overload our fridges. You can definitely fill the fridge, but you just don't want to get it too full. If you get it too full, it doesn't have the cooling capacity of a traditional, like a home fridge. There is a thermometer down here in the unit, so that'll give you the temperature. The fridges are always on when the guests arrive, but keep tabs on that. If you feel that it's not cooling enough, you need to pull some food out and put it in coolers and let it catch up. And typically by the morning after your first night, the fridge is caught up. But again, just don't overload it. Keep an eye on your thermometer. I want to make sure that you're not just spoiling any food. So typically back here in this cabinet will be the gallon jugs of fresh water that we supply during your trip. I like to go over this heater here. So they're a little bit different style heater. This is your traditional like Mr. Buddy ceramic heater. So this is a lot more what more people are used to. So this is very easy to operate. So the dial up here, you basically turn the dial to pilot. You hold the dial down, hit your striker. See if it'll do it here real quick. So there you go. You get your pilot. Hold this down for maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And so once you release, you turn the dial to 1, 2, or 3. There's 3 ceramic tiles in there. So 3 is going to be your high setting, 2 medium, and then 1 low. And then make sure the unit is off when you're not using it. Over here on the wall over here is our smart TV. And again, with the smart TVs, you use your phone as a wireless hotspot to basically get internet access for your TV. And then once you log in with your wireless hotspot, you can watch your Netflix and your streaming devices, watch any games that may be on during your stay here. So walking up here further in the galley is our helm. So this is another main thing here. We have a lot of switches over here with our larger houseboats. It seems like there's a switch for everything. So again, we always want our guests to take pictures of the panels before they leave or at the start of their trip, so they know they have what they need on. The main thing here is navigational lights and anchor, we do not power those. So basically those are navigational anchor lights. We don't have those. We don't want our houseboats out after dark. We want all of our houseboats moored by 6 p.m. each evening. That's why we don't need any running lights. So again, 6 p.m. each evening, you should be at your mooring site and tied up. Third one down is refrigerator. So that will power, you need to keep that on to power your refrigerator. Next one down is water heater. That needs to be on to power your water heater. Next one after that is deck lights. That'll give you your deck lights. Water pressure, so that is your water, that runs your water pump. That is the only switch on this houseboat besides these bottom white ones that you need to worry about. We do like to keep the water pressure switch off as you're cruising on the lake. If you're cruising on the lake and you're trying to run your water, you can deprime your water lines and burn up your water pump. So we don't want you using your water while you're cruising. If you're on the lake and need to use the restroom or something, just bring the houseboat down to idle speed. Go ahead and turn on the water pressure switch to basically use the restroom, wash your hands. But then once before you start back up to cruising speed again, make sure that water pressure switch is off. Next couple down, we don't power the horn. Radio would be your stereo radio, flybridge, that gives 12-volt power up to the flybridge, instruments, cabin lights, and whatnot. So basically the only switch, the black switches you need to worry about is the water pressure switch. These two white switches at the bottom actually power your shifter, so this is very important. So when the outboards are not running, these white switches need to be off, all right? We don't want to be drawing amps to our electric shifter if we're not using it. You can drain that battery. So again, outboards not running, keep the white switches off. When you go to start your outboards, you need to power on your shifter before you try to start your outboard. So turn on your white switches, that powers your shifter. And then I'm going to turn my key switches. There's a run and a start. I'm just going to turn the key switches just to run. And when I do that, the shifter is going to start beeping at me. It's going to want to either control here or the one up top, but we always gain control down here first. So I'm going to turn the key switches to run. Shifter wants control. Hit the control button down here. You'll get the red lights. So whatever shifter has the red lights, that's the shifter that's in control. Okay, so now that you have control of this shifter, now you can start your outboards. Outboards are running. At this point, this is where you could gain control up top with your shifter up on the top deck. So again, always start the motors down here. Always gain control with the shifter down here. When you're using the shifter, when you shift it into forward, give it a good second before you advance the throttle. Same as reverse. Let it go in reverse. Give it a second before you advance throttle. So basically we have the right shifter controls be your right starboard engine. The left shifter is what controls your left or port engine outboard. So again, main thing with the shifters are let them engage or let them shift before you advance throttle. There's usually a little bit of a delay between when you shift here and when the actual motor shifts. You got to give it time to shift. And then up here, there's a lot of gauges and stuff. The only ones that matter would be your RPM tax. Would be these two up here. So you want to do 3,000 RPMs. That's going to be your cruising speed for this houseboat. So all the other gauges, like fuel gauges, are not connected. The voltage gauges, you don't need to worry about those. These are your trim gauges. You don't need to worry about that at all. So main thing up here is just you got your RPMs, and now you're just watching those. So when you're advancing your throttle, you know when you're giving the outboard throttles when the needle starts to rise there. So, also up here in the front is would be our Humminbird GPS and our paper map. We do have a separate orientation video just strictly for our Humminbird GPS and our paper map. Please watch that. That is probably the most important video you can watch if you're going to watch any of our videos, because that really teaches you how to navigate the lake and find your mooring sites. So again, watch that orientation video on our YouTube channel. So again, once you're done up here, you want to turn your motors off. Go ahead and turn your motors off. And again, always turn off those white switches when the outboards aren't running. So next thing, we'll walk out to the front deck. So here on the front deck is we have our charcoal grill. On the front grate there is our plank for kind of bridging the gap between the front of the houseboat and shore at your mooring site. There'll be your mooring ropes are up here. Again, we do have a separate orientation video for mooring the houseboat. That is very important to watch. That's very useful and informational. Front deck, that's pretty much it up here. And that concludes our orientation video for our 55-foot Catalina. Thank you for watching.